Hello everyone, welcome to Educare 247. This is the 23rd lecture in our special revision series for SEBI Grade A examinations. In this lecture, we will be discussing the MCQs on regulatory institutions. Regulatory institutions are a part of your syllabus for finance for SEBI Grade A exams. In this video, we will be discussing the MCQs of the four main development banks of India, that is your NABARD, NHB, Exim and SIDBI Bank. So let's begin with the first question. Question number 1. NHB is currently owned by A. RBI, B. Government of India, C. IRDAI or D. the state government. So the answer to this question is B. Government of India. The National Housing Bank NHB once a wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. So important thing to note here is that previously NHB was a subsidiary of RBI, right? But a recent amendment has taken place on 2019. What happened is the RBI, it divested its entire stake in NABARD and NHB. So both NHB and NABARD was previously a subsidiary of RBI, but RBI completely sold off its stake, right? Completely divested on February 26, 2019 and March 19, 2019 respectively. With this, the government of India now holds 100% stake in both the financial institutions. So this is a recent amendment which happened in 2019 only. So this becomes important for your exam. So the crux here is that NHB and NABARD, both of these institutions are now 100% owned by the government of India. Question number 2. Which of the following is an entity funded by SIDBI? A. Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. B. SIDBI Venture Capital Limited. C. ISARC or D. All of the above. So the answer here is D. All of the above. All of these above institutions are funded by SIDBI. Now let us take an overview of all of these institutions. First, the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. So the Ministry of MSME, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and SIDBI, they together established this Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, right? So the whole idea behind this trust is to provide financial assistance to these industries without any third-party guarantee or collateral. So these industries here means the MSME industries, right? Generally, MSME industries, it is difficult for them to find any guarantor or sometimes even collateral to receive loan, right? So if these industries, if they fail to provide any guarantee or collateral, then this trust, this CGT MSE trust, it acts as a guarantor on their behalf. So whenever bank and financial institutions, the lenders, they are lending money to the MSME sector, they at least get the assurance that this trust will repay their loan even if the MSME fails to pay their loan. So the bank and financial institutions, they are more willing to lend to MSME because of this guarantee given by this trust. Hence, the name is also Credit Guarantee Fund Trust, right? Now moving on to the next entity, ISARC. ISARC is the country's first ARC. ARC here means the Asset Resolution Company. So what is the purpose of this Asset Resolution Company? It will strive for speedier resolution of non-performing assets. Now what is non-performing assets? Non-performing assets are those loans and advances given by banks on which the banks and financial institutions, they have stopped receiving interest or installment due. So basically these assets have stopped performing for the bank, right? They have stopped providing income for the bank. That's why they are called non-performing assets. So what does this ARC, Asset Resolution Company, do? It strives for speedier resolution of NPAs, especially on MSME sectors, so that once the NPAs are resolved, then the banks and financial institutions will be more willing to lend more money to the MSME sectors, right? If they have lots of NPAs, then their funds will also stay blocked. So a speedier resolution of NPA will make it easier for MSME sectors to get loan from banks and financial institutions. Now the third one is SIDBI Venture Capital Limited. So what does this do? See, it is an investment management company, and it basically invests in startups or early stage technology business, manufacturing SMEs. So especially the SMEs, medium and small enterprises, which are just budding, which are just starting, right? So it provides finance or capital to these startups if it sees potential in their business model, or if it sees potential in the business ideas. So it basically wants the SME sector to thrive in India, and it sees that finance or the inadequacy of capital does not become a cause of hindrance for SME sectors. So the main purpose, basically, the main purpose of SIDBI Venture Capital is to finance SME startups, right? Educare offers various courses for SEBI Grade A exams. We have comprehensive courses for SEBI Grade A 2020, which includes syllabus for both paper 1 and 2. Then we have MCQ courses for SEBI Grade A 2020 for paper 2. And we also have SEBI Grade A 2020 crash course for both phase 1 and 2. You can apply with coupon code SEBI, SEBI, and avail discounts on comprehensive courses and crash courses. However, since MCQ courses are already at a discounted price, no further discount is available in this course. You can enroll on these various courses on the basis of your preparation phase. Now moving on to the third question, question number 3. Which among the following made the initial contribution for setting up Financial Inclusion Fund and Financial Inclusion Technology Fund? A. Government of India, NABARD and RBI. B. NABARD, UTI and RBI. C. SIDBI, Government of India and IDBI Bank. Or D. SIDBI, NABARD and UTI. This is UTI means Union Territory of India, right? So the answer here is A. Government of India, NABARD and RBI. See, what is financial inclusion? First, let's understand the term financial inclusion. Financial inclusion basically means it is an effort made to make financial services affordable and accessible to all the people, irrespective of their net worth or their income status. So basically, the aim of financial inclusion is to make financial services accessible to the poor section of the country, right? Or to the weaker section of the economy. Now, what is the purpose of this fund? See, FIF and FITF both were established in the year 2007-8 over a period of 5 years with an initial corpus of 500 crores. Contribution of Government of India, RBI and NABARD was in the ratio 40:40:20. So these three were the contributories in these funds, right? Then what happened? RBI merged both the funds into single entity named FIF. So FITF is also merged into FIF now. And this came into effect in 2016. So merger happened in 2016, right? And the objective of FIF shall be mainly to support development and promotional activities with a view to securing greater financial inclusion, particularly among the weaker sections, low income groups and in backward regions, hitherto unbanked areas. So basically, this fund wants to make policies, financial inclusion policies, right? And it wants even the weaker sections and the backward section of the economy to get access to financial services, and also to address the various issues pertaining to financial inclusion, including training, skill development, creating awareness, and lack of infrastructure and ICT, etc. ICT stands for infrastructure, information and communication technology. So it sees that the issues pertaining to financial inclusion and the lack of infrastructure and technology are resolved. Question number 4. Which of the following holds the majority stake in regional rural banks, RRBs? Is it central government, state government, sponsor banks, or all of the above? So the answer here is A, central government. It holds the majority stake. Now this question has been asked frequently in the exam, so it is an important question which you have to remember. Right, the regional rural banks are owned by central government, state government, and sponsor bank. So all these three institutions, they own the regional rural banks, and the ownership is in the ratio of 50% owned by central government, 15% by state government, and 35% by sponsor government. So you can see that the maximum majority stake is with the central government, followed by sponsor banks, and only 15% stake is with the state government. So sometimes questions are asked about this percentage number figures also, and sometimes question is asked that who holds the majority stake or who holds the least stake, right? So remember these three figures and this percentage. You have to remember the stake of each of these central government, state government, and sponsor banks in regional rural banks. Okay, so move on to question number 5. On the basis of the recommendation of which of the following committees NABARD was established? Was it A, Sunglu Committee, B, Shivraman Committee, C, Narasimhan Committee, or D, Public Accounts Committee? So the answer is B, Shivraman Committee. Right. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, is an apex development bank in India, headquartered at Mumbai with branches all over India. The bank has been entrusted with matters concerning policy, planning, and operations in the field of credit for agriculture and other economic activities in rural areas in India. So it basically regulates agriculture and economic activities in the rural areas. Hence, the name itself is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Right. NABARD was established on the recommendation of B. Shivraman Committee by Act 61, 1981 of the Parliament on 12th July 1982. So NABARD itself was established on 12th July 1982, but the Act on the basis of which it was established, the Act of Parliament is Act 61, 1981 of the Parliament. Right. It replaced the Agriculture Credit Department and Rural Planning Credit Cell (RPCC) of the Reserve Bank of India and Agriculture Refinance and Development Corporation. So previously these three corporations, these three institutions were responsible for providing credit to the agriculture and rural sector in India. But after the establishment of NABARD, NABARD has taken over the functions of these three institutions. So now NABARD is the apex authority for providing credit for agriculture and rural development in India. Question number 6. Who offers buyer's credit and lines of credit to foreign government and banks? Is it Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India, Exim Bank, or Industrial Development Bank of India? So the answer is C, Exim Bank. Exim Bank, it stands for the Export and Import Bank of India, popularly known as Exim Bank. It was set up in 1982. It is the principal financial institution in India for foreign and international trade. So basically it supports import and export activities in India, right? The bank lays special emphasis on extension of lines of credit, LOCs. So what is line of credit? It is basically the limit up to which a borrower can borrow fund. Higher the line of credit, higher amount a borrower can borrow, and lower the line of credit, lower amount the borrower can borrow. So Exim Bank, it emphasizes on extending the line of credit so that the overseas entities and national governments and regional financial institutions, so that all of these institutions can borrow a greater amount of money and then use those money for infrastructure project in India, right? So it basically wants the infrastructure development in India by extending the lines of credit. The bank also extends buyer's credit so that the buyers can buy things on credit, and suppliers credit so that the suppliers can supply things on credit. So the buyer's credit and supplier's credit, it makes it easier for buyer and supplier to trade, right? And thus to promote countries' export. So with this, we've come to the end of the video. If you found the video useful, then do like and share the video, and stay tuned to Educare 247 for more videos on different topics of SEBI Grade A 2020 examinations. Thank you.